Like when that happens, the other person is blindsided because they didn't know that all this time they were tiptoeing and skip-a-doodling all over to your boundaries. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Ebony. On this channel, we discuss shifting mindsets that no longer serve us. And I want to address something that I've seen recently. And a lot of people have been using this presidential election as cause for ceasing communication with people. If you've decided that because somebody voted for Trump the second time or the first time, that now is the time that you say, I can't be friends with you no more, I urge you to consider the following. It seems as though when a person commits a single act that people are through, and I can't believe they did that one thing. But then that one thing is never really done in isolation. Let's think about it. Because once they do that one thing, your mind starts building a case around why now is the time to call it quits. And it's very easy to build a case around an excitable thought. And an excitable thought is something that, triggers emotion within you. So if you're thinking about something and it's paired with an emotional response, then that's an excitable thought. And it could go either way. It can be, a happy excitement, or it can be angry excitement. It depends on the situation. But once that is initiated, you then have an issue where once that thought is triggered, it starts to bring in a flood of similar thoughts. So if you've all of a sudden started thinking that this person is stupid, I'm not saying they are, but if you start thinking that they're stupid, then you're going to find that your mind will deliver to you more examples of how their stupidity was exercised in your presence. Don't you think about it? If some person does something dumb, you're like, they were always a little dingy, or they were always a little slow, or they were always on that mental trajectory. They always seem to think in that way. Now that I think about it, they have always been that way. You see where I'm getting at? But let me ask you this. If you have enough evidence to build a case towards them up until now, then that means you were allowing them to get away with these minor indiscretions the entire course of your friendship or relationship, right? Because now you're like, oh, now that I'm shining the light on the things that I don't like about this person, I see all the times that I was annoyed or triggered or bothered in some way by what they did. Does that make sense now? Let that sit for a second. You're not mad because they crossed the line. You're angry because you let them get that close enough to it to cross it. This is what happens. Someone says something to you or does something to you, and deep down, it just doesn't feel right inside. Maybe it's a joke that you didn't find funny, or maybe they are taking you for granted. Again, you notice it bothers you, but instead of addressing it right then and there, you think something like, oh, it's not even worth it. It's not that serious. Maybe I'm being too sensitive, or something like that. Even worse, you tell yourself that you are overthinking something that obviously triggered a feeling in you. So now you're disregarding your own feelings. But here's the thing. Every time you let something small like that slide, you're training that other person to think, it's okay for me to say that. It's okay for me to do that. You're telling them, this thing that you did doesn't bother me. Or at least it doesn't bother me enough to say something to you. And let's be real, sometimes we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to come off like we're too soft or anything like that. We think it's not so bad, but those little not so bads add up a lot. And then boom, they do something that completely crosses the line. They've been sitting on that line for quite a while. it didn't take much to cross it. You just didn't notice, or you just didn't find it necessary to protect your boundary. And now you're mad, but not just at them, you're mad at yourself. I get it. I've been there. I've been there a lot. Honestly, with this whole situation with the president, I felt a certain way when I saw some people that I know vote for him. But I absolutely understood that that is their decision. And you never really know why they make the decision that they did. It could be the finances, it could be the rage, it could be the anger, it could be the underdogness of it. I don't know what their reason is. And honestly, it's none of my business because I voted for who I voted for. But I'm not going to cut you off because you voted for someone, because it's absolutely your individual right to vote for someone. But that does mean that the way that I look at the world and the way that you look at the world varies drastically. We have very different opinions on how you're supposed to conduct yourself as a human being. We have very different opinions on how you're supposed to show respect for other people. All of the things that Trump does go against what I believe is proper human behavior in general. So if you chose to align yourself with that, that is cause for me to say, okay, well, maybe I don't align with this person anymore. But for them to have come to a point where they can vote for him and feel confident and proud of voting for him, that tells me that I was overlooking a few things from the beginning, right? Because you don't just magically wake up and be a Trump supporter. You absolutely understand the type of person that he is if you walked into the ballot and chose him. So there were other things that we just didn't align with. Maybe I need to reflect. Maybe you need to reflect on why this was so easy for you to feel like someone's relationship needs to end with you at this point. You know, there's some people who can give grace to certain people. Everyone has a preference. There's nothing wrong with that. If you proceed to allow someone to talk to you in a certain manner because you say that's just the way they talk, but if you don't like it, what is the end game here? Are you going to continue to sit and be spoken to in a way that you don't feel comfortable? Or are you going to establish your boundaries and then make that decision? They'll either respect you or they won't. Because if they won't respect your boundaries, do you really want to be in a relationship with them anyway? And it could be a platonic friendship, it could be a romantic relationship. If they're speaking to you in a way that you do not appreciate, but you don't say anything, are you really giving them a chance to respect your boundaries? Or are you just traumatizing yourself on a regular basis? Trauma comes in so many different forms. I mean, I love my grandmother to death, but everybody was a heifer. Everybody was a heifer. And I mean, it wasn't something that I thought was so offensive, but I'm not out here calling people heifers, right? Because I understand that might not make them, they might not want to be called a heifer. How about that? Like, it was never something that made me feel like she was trying to disrespect anybody, but it was just something that she did. And some people don't like that. And there's a boundary that you say, hey, don't call me that. Like, I have a name and you should use it. Now, don't go getting your teeth smacked out by grandma by trying to correct her on what you're saying. Why do we let this happen? That's really the question we need to ask ourselves. For some of us, I think it's more of a people-pleasing situation. Maybe we're afraid of confrontation, so we might rather bite our tongue than make a thing out of it, you know? And for other people, it might be fearing the fact that if you say something, it might affect the relationship that you have with that person. You might be afraid to cause a ripple in the relationship that you have with the person who is approaching your boundary line. Or maybe we just aren't even aware that our boundaries are worth protecting. And a lot of people are out here disregarding their boundaries. Their boundaries might not even exist, honestly, because they don't know that they deserve to have boundaries and they don't know how to establish healthy boundaries in the first place. And if that's the case, you're just really in a vicious cycle of being in a situation where it's possible to end up in a cycle where you're exposing yourself to something you do not like, do not appreciate, and sometimes makes you feel bad about yourself, only to not realize that you're initiating that contact that causes you to feel bad about yourself. You're not even aware that you're doing it. And let me tell you, those feelings are valid, but they also will keep you stuck. You'll be stuck in resentment, in frustration. You'll be stuck in these one-sided relationships where you're constantly feeling like you're being taken advantage of over and over again. And the worst part is the other person doesn't even really know that that's what's going on because you've never addressed the fact of how they're crossing your boundaries. So you'll get mad at them at the end because they did something so audacious that causes you to want to stop talking to them, but it hits them like it blindsides them. Like when that happens, the other person is blindsided because they didn't know that all this time they were tiptoeing and skip-a-doodling all over to your boundaries and you didn't tell them. There was no sign that said, hey, approach with caution because I might flip the fuck out. Nobody ever told them. So now you're mad and you don't want to be their friend anymore. You don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. And they're looking at you like, what the hell is that all about? Why are you acting brand new? If you can make a case about somebody as to why you should not speak with them anymore, then chances are you weren't being a real friend or partner to them in the first place. And some people are going to act like, oh, I can't believe you said that, or what the F, whatever. That's your opinion. At the end of the day, if you're not communicating clearly with the other person, you're not being genuine. You're not being yourself. You're not being an active partner in this back and forth because someone is doing something to you and you're allowing it, but on the low, you're in the back like, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they did that. You let them. Why can't you believe it? And I can assure you, they will do it again because you let them do it the first time. And it does not have to seem malicious, right? It doesn't have to seem malicious. Guess what? Don't show up at my house after a certain time. Boundary crossed and you will get the shutdown of your life. Don't talk badly about anybody in my circle or my friends, my family, or anything like that, because you will get shut down immediately. I don't want to hear it. I'm not saying you can't have feelings. I'm saying don't come to me with it. And if you do, I'm going to respectfully tell you, I don't have nothing to do with that. That's not my business, so I don't want to hear about it. I don't think it's wise or respectful to discuss such and such's business. Let's move on. I don't want to do it, and I'm not going to do it. I don't want you to feel like this is a comfort zone of gossip, because it's not. I don't want you to feel like this is a comfort zone for toxicity, because it's not. And as I see it approach me, I can clearly identify it and say, I'm not really feeling this conversation. Let's talk about something else. I'm not going to say, I can't be your friend. No, I'm a grown-ass woman. I can say, I don't want to have this conversation. I'm not going to. We can talk about something else, or I got to go. It's very simple. You teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to respect you. And there's nothing wrong about that. Once you learn how to be able to express your emotions and your thoughts clearly, it's a game changer for you, because then people will understand, oh, I'm not even going to call her with that. And let me tell you, wait guys, let me tell you, when people start to understand your boundaries and then they realize that you're not playing around, you get so much time back, let me tell you. When I started telling people, I don't want to talk about such and such, or I don't want to talk about this, or, I just can't deal with that topic right now, whatever have you, people started really filtering their reasons for calling me. And oh my God, guys, gals, friends, let me tell you, the way my time has freed up, I've been getting so much done. Because no longer are people saying, let me call Ebony and talk for hours about nonsense. Okay. And I mean, respectfully, it might be valid topics to discuss to them, but for me, and I'm not trying to say I am better than anybody or anybody's better than me, it's nonsense to me. And in that fact, I'm not going to spend my time, my precious time that I cannot get back, talking about something that I put in a nonsense category. So once you start establishing with your peer group, your friends, your family, your romantic interests, that there are certain things that you do not waste your time on, they will think twice before calling you with that nonsense. And that is a game changer, because now you're training people on what to bring when they approach you. And I know that kind of sounds like, oh, you're training people, you think you're controlling people. No, I'm just filtering the type of activities that I participate in. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't like sitting on the phone for hours gossiping. I don't. I am okay sitting by myself listening to an audiobook, working on my business, being a good mom, trying to figure out how to be a good wife, because there ain't no handbook for this. I tell you right now. No handbook for this. I'm doing a lot in my time with things that I consider valuable time spent. So when someone tries to approach me on something that comes from the nonsense category, oh, I'm okay. I got something to do. I'm busy right now. I can talk to you later. It's healthy, friends. This is self-care. Because sometimes I will talk to somebody and it will be such an engaging conversation. It really will be. But then you feel drained after. You feel like, what did I just do? Oh my God, it's been 2-3 hours I've been on the phone with you talking about what? I was supposed to get this done. I had this on my to-do list. I had this, that, and the third. And now I gotta go pick up the kids. Your day was wasted away. How did that happen? Because you didn't set a boundary. But they are not to blame for that, because they are doing what they feel comfortable doing. And if they feel comfortable doing that with you, that is your responsibility. So if somebody's out here feeling like wasting the day away doing nothing is okay to do with you, you need to reflect on why they feel so comfortable doing that with you. Don't be mad at them for doing it. Be mad at yourself for giving them a safe space to do it and a partner in crime to do it with. People are going to be how they are. And if you're not clearly being yourself and establishing what is acceptable and unacceptable in your interaction, that's your fault. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Matter of fact, no, I don't. It's your fault and you need to stop. I'm really not here to tell anybody what to do, but my opinion is my opinion. And if you resonate with that, then you're owning your stuff enough to say, you know what, maybe I do need to reflect. Maybe I do need to think about why it's okay for people to come over here and just do this, that, and the third. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Those people who want to just come over and eat all your food, drink all your drinks, and lay out in your house and literally do nothing all day. Like literally do nothing all day. Once in a while, don't get me wrong, because I love to hang out with I love to hang out with my friends and do things. And sometimes a chill day is well deserved. But what does your chill day look like? Because you can't have a chill day every day with your unemployed, unambitious friends and then think, oh, well, let me also do a self-care day because you didn't do anything for the other days. What you need self-care for? What you need to self-care from the wasted energy that you were expending all week doing nothing. No, that's not how this goes. And I've noticed that as I changed the way I've started interacting with people, I've started noticing those friends who are supportive of my growth and those friends who are not supportive of my growth. Family members as well. It doesn't matter if they're blood or not. Like friends, families, colleagues, whatever, people are going to start noticing the difference when you start setting boundaries. And honestly, setting boundaries, this might be another video, but setting boundaries definitely sets up a filter on the type of people that you attract. Guys, law of attraction is serious. I'm not in all of this crazy esoteric stuff, but I do feel like there are universal laws that are just at play. You can't tell me different. I understand. I'm open-minded to everybody's opinions. Drop it below on how you see fit. There are some things that I just felt like didn't sound right. I was like, this don't seem logical to me, but whatever. But then there's also some things where I'm like, absolutely, that sounds about right. You just have to pick the things that resonate best with you. So when I say law of attraction is serious, I mean, yes, it's very simple to say, I bought a new Lexus and now I see Lexuses all over the place. It happens. You can't deny it. Either you're not paying attention or you just want to refuse to see the things that are really happening around you. I say that to say, when you start siphoning, when you start establishing and enforcing the boundaries that are true to the real you, you start to see a filter. You've put up a filter that says, hey, the people who can get through this filter are the people who I really want to engage in. So if I have a filter up that says no nonsense, then those people who are coming with nonsense don't come over here no more. See where I'm going with this? Those people who have drama and toxicity can't get through this filter no more. They'll try and they'll get blocked and then they'll stop trying. That's really how it goes, because people know when they don't feel wanted. You know when you do not feel wanted. And it may not be that you don't want that person. It just may be you don't want the things that they are bringing. So please understand, if you decided to end somebody's relationship with you because they did this one thing, it was never the one thing. If one simple act has caused you to want to end a relationship with someone, I really urge you to reflect and say, is it really this one instance? Because it was probably a whole laundry list of things that you were upset with or that you didn't like about them in the first place. And now you just have a reason that you think is valid enough to stop talking to them. If you want to stop talking to them, stop talking to them. And you can end that interaction. You just have to be brave enough to put yourself first. Okay, y'all. So I hope this video came out right. I'm not trying to do too much editing on it. Okay, let's get our shift straight, because boundaries, y'all. Like, man.